Thank you, Madam Chair. And speaking of color, going back to, and this is for Senator Franken as well, in 1973 with the oil embargo and then the 1975 ban on oil exports, Senator Franken in 1975 was a new writer for a brand new show called Saturday Night Live in 1975 when the oil export ban was put in place. I was looking at the stats. Senator Murphy would have been 2 years old. Senator Gardner was a year old, and Tom Cotton wasn't born yet in 1975, 40 years ago. And so think about that. I mean, it was ABBA, it was Captain Tennille, it was the Eagles. I was in 7th grade, but it was a response to an acute crisis that we had, certainly, and I remember it with what happened there with the oil embargo.
Gas lines.
And so now as we go back, we fast forward here, and I think, Secretary Moniz, you are a brilliant man. You are a forward thinker. I'm still somewhat surprised that we have a policy in place that's 40 years old that served a purpose 40 years ago, but argue is irrelevant today as we move from a scarcity environment to one of abundance. Now the United States is the largest producer of oil and liquids in the world, surpassing both Russia and Saudi Arabia. So my question is, now that it looks as if the ban on Iranian oil exports will be lifted, what countries in the world have a ban on oil exports?
I don't know the full answer to that question. Obviously, in the United States, we have a partial ban.
And so I think, and I want to make sure I had my facts right, but I don't know of another country that has a ban on oil exports now that we are going to be lifting the ban on Iranian exports with the President's agreement. Right. So, so why should we have this ban in place? Why should the United States be the only country in the world with a ban on most oil exports? When we export coal, natural gas, gasoline, why not export oil?
Well, again, we are, as you just inferred, we are major exporters of oil products. So we refine the
right. But why have the ban on oil?
So again, as I've said earlier, that's obviously a policy decision in the Department of Commerce. But I go back to the fact that the EIA analysis certainly shows, certainly in anything like today's and projected markets, rather small impact of whether that's in place or not.
But does it make sense? I mean, think about all the countries in the world, and now the United States is the leading producer of oil and liquids, #1 in the world, and we have a ban on exports because of a law passed by Congress 40 years ago. Why does that make sense?
Well, I mean, of course, again, just to repeat, we are also a 7 million barrel a day importer of oil. So we are a huge importer of oil. That's just a fact. I think one can still come out.
Senator Barrasso got back to, though, the forces driving that certainly is the way refining capacity is laid out in terms of the heavy versus light. But I'm looking forward to continuing to work with the chair here as well as having a good, vigorous debate on lifting this ban, allowing the forces here, the jobs will be created, the tax revenues created, and importantly, the topic of this hearing is back on energy security and the importance thereof. That I hope we move forward and remove that ban.
Well, it's the law.
It is, and this is the body that makes laws and can change the law. And I hope we can get the White House to work with us here to remove that ban. I think it'll be tremendous for our national security, global security, as well as for our economy. We have one drilling rig right now operating in Montana. The Bakken carries over from North Dakota into Montana. We have one drilling rig currently operating in Montana. I recognize you have the ups and downs in prices, but I think we have tremendous possibility.
But again, Senator, I think the current global market is one that does not seem to be in reality looking for that oil. That's just a fact. In fact,
but why not allow the forces of the free market? Why would we unilaterally be the only country in the world to ban oil exports? That's it. Now that Iran's ban is lifted, why would we be the only country to have an oil export ban?
I look forward to your answer.
I don't think I do not have a good answer. I'm looking forward to your answer. Those who oppose lifting the ban. I'm out of time, Madam Chair. Thank you.